besties. Today I'm going to perform a hot stone back treatment. Please go ahead and grab some materials to take notes. I'd like for you to write down the step-by-steps because that will be an assignment due after this demo. I have already communicated with my guest on the concerns of the back. Healthy back, no congestions, looks really healthy. It has a nice thickness to it, not too thin, so this guest is not going to be overly sensitive to the products that I'm going to be using today. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I've got my guest all prepped. I've already had my consent form signed and my ticket signed off, and we are ready to begin. So the first step, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just warm the back up with a nice warm towel. I have pre-warmed my towels in my cubby. This is always nice to use the terry cloth towels because the terry cloth towels have a little bit of texture and the back really does enjoy a little bit more rougher than what you would put on the face. So I'm going to go ahead and just let them know I'm putting a warm towel on. As you see, I'm laying it lengthwise. Lengthwise is going to cover the entire back. Then I'm going to go ahead and use from my elbows to my forearms, just pressing outward towards the hips, out towards the underarm, and up towards the shoulder. Then I'm going to go ahead and take the very end of the towel, and I'm just going to go ahead and grab each corner, and I'm just going to drag it up, rolling it up off the back, and then just slip off. The back now has some moisture to it, so this will help me with my cleanse. That is going to be the second step. You can use some purity solution for your first cleanse, or you can jump right in and go into a benefit clean or a gentle clean, whichever one that you want to use, depending on the activity of the back. Again, there's no congestions, there's no pustules. It's a very healthy looking back. So therefore, I'm just gonna go jump right in and do my purity cleanse, warming it up in my hands and going ahead and spreading. Again, ladies, this is just something quick because you want to get into the thorough cleanse with your second cleanse. Again, you can go ahead and spread at least 3 times and just feather up off the shoulders, up and off like this. Go ahead and get another towel. Make sure that it has been tested with heat like the first time that I did not mention. You definitely want to test your towel. Again, the back can take a little bit more heat than the face. Go ahead and reach over, apply the towel on the back, do your spread to remove that purity solution. Again, grabbing each corner of the towel and dragging it up towards the shoulder and feathering off. Now I went ahead and got my steamer ready because my steamer is going to be part of the treatment when I get to the exfoliating mask, which is going to be our polish. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off for now and come back to it. It is all pre-warmed. I recommend that you turn your steamer on right away so it's ready to go when you're ready for it. I'm going to go ahead now with my second cleanse. This time I'm going to use the exfoliating cleanser, which is Purity Clean. I'm going to go ahead and get that nice and wet. I need to dip my hands in a little bit of water because the terry cloth has dried my hands off. You want it to get it good and sudsy before you go onto the back. A little goes a long ways, remember that? Excuse my back to the camera. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and bring it over to the client. I'm going to start down by the hips. I'm going to do that spread motion going all the way up and up to the shoulders. I do need a little bit more cleanser. I'm going to go ahead and grab a little bit more. I'm going to rub it over off to the side, getting a little bit more water, getting it nice and foamy. Again, I'm going to start at the hips. I'm going to bring up, slide around to the sides, up to the shoulders. Now again, you can choose any way you want to actually rub and cleanse the back. Circular motions are usually the best. You definitely want to make sure that you're practicing your ergonomics, being that you want to be balanced on your weight on your hips. I would suggest bringing one leg forward and one leg back slightly with a slight bend. I don't know if you guys can see that through the arm, but a slight bend leaning in towards the table. So then you're going to protect your back because you don't want to hurt your back by this extension. So make sure that you're using the proper balance on your hips, distributing that weight properly. Now, I have found when I've done back treatments in the past, it's nice to have a heated blanket underneath, like a bed warmer, because again, the back does have a tendency to get cool really quick. That's why we do things a little bit hotter on the back. And when we're working, we feel the heat because we're warm, but they're laying there with a damp moisture product on their back, so it's cooling them off a little bit. So again, having a bed warmer is really a nice treat. I can feel some knots here in the lower back. Again, ladies, we're not massage therapists, so we cannot do deep tissue, but we can definitely do a nice relaxing back treatment. We don't call it a massage, we call it a treatment. Again, massage is for massage therapists, and yes, you have to be certified in order to use a back massage. So we call it a back treatment. Again, I laid my towel lengthways on the back, spreading, working my way up to the shoulder. Going ahead and grab my two corners, and this time I'm going to shimmy it a little bit, making it as I'm rolling up, I'm shimmering. You can choose your own way of a removal. This is just a nice little added treat. I'm going to go ahead and use a mitt-like step in my hand to remove this product, the second cleanse. If the back still feels like it has product on, again, go ahead and reverse your towel, go back on the back, and wipe off any excess product or cleanser that you may have missed. This is going to be this part where we exfoliate. I have a body polish from Biotone. It has microbeads in it, so it's going to help slough off the dead skin and also giving some oxygen and blood flow to the surface of the back, bringing a slight pink tone. I'm going to put my steamer on, but I'm going to be very careful that I'm not setting it directly straight down because I do not want to cause any type of heat burn. Steam is hot, so yes, it can burn. So you want to make sure you have a nice steady stream. Once you have that stream, then you bring it over to your guest and you do the placement. Now my steamer does not have the feature where I could bring it up and down. It's only staying stable. So again, this was something I did not know, and I may end up buying a different type of steamer because I don't have control with this arm. I'm going to go ahead and place that steam, making sure that it's not going to burn. It is hitting in one area, so I am going to go ahead and keep my eye on that. So I'm going to go ahead with a larger brush. Now at school, on our equipment, we have a rotary brush, which is our exfoliating brush, and you would use that versus your hands. Being that I don't have a rotary brush, I'm going to have to use my hands. The body polish is already pre-measured for you. If you have someone that has a larger canvas, you can grab 2 of these. And you're going to just want to go ahead and spread. You do want to use a larger type of brush. I'm using a large fan brush, and I'm applying it all over the back. Using nice strokes, feathering it, and making sure I get the whole entire back. Now, the map of the back is going to be right where the hips are, all the way to the top of the shoulder. It's one rectangle shape. You definitely want to, and I do apologize, I did not mention, you want to protect your guest's clothing by taking this décolleté towel that we use, and you want to tuck it into the band of their pants, just tucking it in, protecting their clothing so it does not get any product on it. If you like, you are welcome to put gloves on. The polish does have those little micro beads, some grit to it. It will exfoliate your own hands, your palms of your hands. So if it's something that is uncomfortable for you, please wear gloves. Today in the world, the way things have changed, gloves are a must. I am not going to use gloves. I am very comfortable with my guest. My guest and I have been together for 5 years, so therefore there's a lot of trust in this relationship, and being that gloves are kind of a sparse novelty, what's the term I'm trying to say? Anyhow, I just want to preserve as many gloves as I possibly can. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and start with the body polish, and I'm working that in. I'm doing a little bit of a firm pressure, circling the entire back, moving upwards. Again, my placement on my hips and my weight is distributed in a balance where I'm comfortable, because I am leaning completely over, and I want to protect my back. And again, you're just going to rub that exfoliating mask on. And if you were using the exfoliating brush, at this point you would just sit back and wait. Let the steam warm up those beads to help emulsify, or not emulsify, to help melt that sebum off the back. You would let this mask sit on for about 6 to 8 minutes. With the last 3 minutes, you would go and grab your rotary brush, and then you would go ahead and finish off the last few minutes with this polish mask with your rotary brush. Since I don't have one, I'm going to go ahead and continue to manipulate the back with my hands. You will see some redness again because it is an exfoliant, and we are slightly rubbing it into the back. You can choose any direction as far as your hands are, but the best thing to remember is always start at the hips and work your way up. Circular movement, being sure to get the upper shoulders, and then you can feather off. We're going to fast forward and say it's been about 8 minutes. Turn off my steam. I'm going to grab another warm towel, test the temperature, bring it over, it's cold, sorry, and I'm going to lay it on the back, pressing outward. Going in the corner to corner, shimmering, shimmering. Anyhow, you know what I mean. Going ahead and making a mitt with my towel wrapped around my hand, and going and wiping off any excess exfoliating mask or polish, body polish. This is a manual scrub. Also can be a physical scrub, what we learned in our chapter. Now, it's going to be really difficult to get every part of those little polished beads off. That's all right. Once the back gets completely dry, they'll roll off. So there will be a little bit of grit. If you feel it's too gritty, by all means grab another towel and go ahead and continue to remove. I am now going to go and I'm using hemp seed oil. You can use our motion oil that we have from Cosmetic. It's a great slip. It stays wet because it's an oil. It's an oil-based product. So you'll be able to have quite a bit of slip. I'm just going to pour a little bit in my hand. The nice thing about this would be if you did have a warm cubby next to you, you could put the oil inside the hot towel cubby to get it warm. But you can quickly warm it up in your hands. I'm going to go ahead and start again. I'm going to go ahead and rest the back of my hands on the shoulders to let the guests know that I'm ready to begin. I'm going to go ahead and do my spread. I need more product. This is the reason why we use the towel tucked into the liner of the waistband, is to protect their clothing from getting oily or stained. So that feels pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and spread that all over the back, making sure that I cover completely. I am doing a light but yet firm pressure. Again, I'm not doing deep tissue. Now, you can use your thumbs, kind of like how we do our lobster pinches. You can actually do that straight down the middle of the spine, putting your placement of thumbs on either side of that spine, pushing, and then going out towards the hips. Once again, I'm going to start up. I'm going to bring around the shoulders. I'm going to come right up into the top of the spine and bringing it down and pushing, and then pushing out towards the hips. I'm going to do small circles now, continuing down slowly with a slight pressure, but not too firm. Down that spine. Again, my thumbs are placed on both sides on the outer side of that spine. Coming back in. You can do this 3 to 4 times. You will develop your own style and technique of this particular motion. I can feel lumps, and usually those are going to be built up lactic acid naturally that the body creates on its own. So you are welcome to just rub them a little bit, but again, do not apply too much pressure because you are dealing with detoxing, and again, we are not licensed to do massage. Deep tissue massage, excuse me. So the way I always feather off the back is I come around the delts here, I come up and around the shoulders, placing my fingers underneath by the collarbone and pulling up, kind of like in a upside down prayer position. This is how I kind of feather off. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my rocks. I have them placed in a crock pot. At school, we actually have a tub for hot rocks. You definitely want to check those temperatures because it does tend to get on the really, really hot side. So always have a bowl of cool water so that you can actually go ahead and place in there. Again, I'm usually right there, and I usually watch and keep an eye on the hot rocks because, again, I don't want your hands to be burned, and I don't want a client to get burned either. So these are nice and warm. These are warm enough for me to hold. Now, I chose rocks that fit in the palm of my hand. We have many sizes. These happen to place really nice in the palm of my hands. I'm going to go ahead and rub them and twist them in my hands, in the palm of my hands, to get some oil on them. So then I'm going to go ahead and come back, remembering my stance, where I'm actually kind of doing a lunge, where I'm distributing my weight evenly on my hips. Coming over to my guest, getting in position, I'm going to go ahead and take the back of my hands, rest on their shoulders, then flip. Now the same motion that I did with my hands, I'm going to do with the rocks. Just going to glide all the way down to the tailbone, off to the side of the hips, and up, and I'll do a circle. I'm slowing down because again, I want the guests to feel comfortable, and my goal is to get them extremely relaxed. This is a treatment. I will do this 3 times. If you're not able to glide as easily as I am, that means that your guest has absorbed the oil and that you'll probably need to apply just a little bit more when you release contact to pick up your other set of rocks. I usually like to work with anywhere from 6 to 8 rocks. Again, I'm going to come around and I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure, just slight, right in there in that shoulder. And I'm going to come down. And this time I'm going to glide right all the way down the center. I will show you that again. I'm going to go right down the center. I'm not applying too much pressure because, again, some of your guests are going to have less thick tissue there. So therefore, you're going to feel the lumbar. You're going to feel those discs. So you want to be careful that you don't irritate that. If that's the case, if you can feel that, then it's really extremely important that you do a lighter pressure. I'm going to go ahead and slide down, pressing as I get closer to that tailbone. Pause. Then I'm going to bring my second one down. And as I start to get close to my second hand, I'm going to lift off. I'm going to leave the placement right there. I know that you guys can't see it very well, but I'm going to go ahead and start lining up my rocks all the way up to the spine. I always feather off, and then I come and grab 2 more. Again, if it's too hot, ladies, I will be there to help you pull them out and cool them off. Second set of stones, placing my hands behind, or my hands upside down on their shoulder, flipping over my rock, and doing the exact same thing. Now, sometimes you'll have a guest that has a very small back and the rocks won't stay put. That's okay. As long as you're making sure that you're rubbing those rocks and doing a slight back treatment with these rocks, that's all right. Because sometimes, again, they will slip. Had a guest that had booked a facial and a back treatment, you would want to do the back treatment first, because as you can see, they're laying down in a cradle. Their face is down in a cradle. We have cradle caps that go around this little pillow-like thing, and then we use disposable liners, so we're not having to reuse the same one. Each guest gets a disposable liner. There's that motion. And I'm just lining them up close enough to each other. You can kind of see on the screen now. Some guests are going to have a smaller back, like I said, that you're going to only use 6. But if you have, usually a gentleman will need 8 rocks, sometimes 9. So always have a little bit more. In this case, more is better. Again, I'm going to go ahead and roll these rocks in the palm of my hands just to go ahead and get the oil product all the way around them. I'm going to go ahead and start my third rock pass stone. You will have some guests fall asleep, which to me is a huge compliment. You may also have guests that tend to moan, and that is all right as well. Don't be shocked or taken back. It's an indication that that is a spot that is sore and it feels really good because you're applying some pressure in that area. That again, you will get some guests that like to moan. It always puts a smile on my face because I know I'm doing a really good job at that point. This treatment should last anywhere from 45 to 55 minutes, especially if you're doing extractions. The extraction part would be right after the exfoliating mask. That's when I would do my extractions. I would go ahead and remove the polish. Then I would go ahead and place some disincrustation solution on the areas that are going to be extracted. I would leave the steam on longer with that disincrustation solution because it works best when it's heated, again, because it's melting all that buildup on that sebum on the skin and also bringing moisture. So again, extractions come out a lot easier when you have a damp, moistened skin. So how high would I go on my guest? I have one rock left, and that's going to be, I could have had one more. I could have had two more. You don't want to go up too high on the neck, but you definitely want to go right about where the shoulder blades are going to meet. So actually one stone is going to be perfect. Being that I only have one stone left, I'm going to go and steal from my lineup, and I'm going to work the shoulders a little bit. So again, I'm going to come and place the back of my hands on their shoulders, flip over, and I'm now going to concentrate on the shoulder area. Again, don't lose your balance or your stance. Keep your back comfortable and weight balanced on your hips. Can you see why it is a good idea to have a heated blanket, pad cover? Because their back is exposed for quite a while. Coming up around those shoulders, and I do apologize you can't see that, but I'm going right in here, pushing in, pushing in, pushing in towards the neck. I will do that here. Again, you can't really see very well, and I apologize. But like when I was doing my upside down prayer position, it's kind of the same thing with the rocks. You're going to come around, you're going to glide up, and then you're going to slide to place those rocks where now it is a nice line. Now at this point, this is something that we offer. You can leave these stones on here for a couple minutes. Someone who has arthritis, this is a really good treatment for them. This is really warm. It's warming on their disc, and it just feels really soothing for them. This is a popular treatment in our colder climate months, anywhere from like November to February, sometimes March if we have a wet month. This is very popular. Of course, it's not seasonal, it's year-round, but again, you'll see that you'll get more guests coming to you in those cooler months. So I'm just going to go ahead and just continue. I always want to have contact with my guests. Again, they're paying for my time, right? So I want to give them their money's worth. Some of you will love doing this and some of you will not care for it so much, and that's okay. You can put this on your menu or not, but something like this can go anywhere from, now at the school it's $45, but anywhere else you could actually get $75 to $80 for this type of treatment. Again, based on the demographics of the area that you live in and what products that you are using. The more products you use, you should definitely incorporate that in your prices. You can choose to do couple, like around Valentine's Day, you can run a promotion. If you work in an establishment that has more than one esthetician and your room is large enough, you could set up 2 beds side by side. Now the spa that I worked with, we had massage therapists on hand, and I worked really well with Sarah. So Sarah and I would work together, and we would go in the bigger room and set up another table. Now mind you, she is a massage therapist, so then again, she's able to do this. Her certifications allows her to do back treatments. Although I do have to tell you, you have to remind, if you are working side by side with a massage therapist, you need to remind them that you're an esthetician and that this is a back treatment and not a back massage. So they need to do a little bit lighter touch because automatically, it's just automatic. They want to get in and they want to work that tissue that is causing like that lactic acid buildup in the skin. They want to work that out. But just, you have to remind them that this is a back treatment and not a back massage. All right. Now what I'm going to do, in order to remove the rocks, I'm going to slowly go down towards the hips, and I'm going to take the 2 rocks, and then I'm going to bring them to the side and bring them up, doing kind of a figure S. Up and underneath those shoulders, feathering up on the neck into my upside down prayer, and then off. The way we would disinfect our rocks is that we have quats. I disinfect our rocks separately. I don't put them in the same tub of our fan brushes and our bowls and our pellets or pallets. I like to disinfect separately. So I will have that set up for you. You will scrub with soap and water each rock, rinse them well, and then you will go ahead and place them in the quats for 10 minutes. You could also do a bleach bath as well, and that is definitely diluted, and you can disinfect with bleach as well. These are a stone. Some stones are a little bit more porous than others. These are just your basic river rocks. They're very smooth, they're easy to hold, they're not rough at all. They're just extremely nice. Now that I have a little bit more exposure on the back as I've removed some of the rocks, I'm just going to go ahead and glide down off to the side and do my figure S. Down around the shoulders, up. Occasionally you'll get some clanking. That's okay, but you want to also just be mindful that it is a little more irritating because your guest is in a really relaxed state, and that noise is almost is escalated because they are so relaxed. They're aware of what's going around noise-wise. So again, just be careful not to clank too much. It does happen. It's not that you're doing a bad job. Honestly, it's just, it happens, but just be mindful of that. My last rock, going down the spine, putting a little bit of pressure at that tailbone and just pausing. Little bit of pressure. Just pausing. Then I'm going to go ahead and roll it up, back up in the direction towards the middle of their shoulders. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my fingers and feather off. back has the oil. Most of this oil has been absorbed. At this point, I'm just rubbing a little bit more just to warm up the back, because again, they've been laying here for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and warm up this back. Coming up, I'm going to feather off. I'm going to grab another nice warm towel, testing it. If it is too hot, ladies, gentlemen, feather it off to cool it off. But again, the back likes it a little bit warmer. So if you can tell the difference, like I said, from lukewarm to a little bit slightly warmer, that would be much more comfortable on the back. Bringing the towel over, laying it lengthways, pressing again. Taking the corner to corner and shimmying it up. Off, wrapping it around my hand like a mitt, and then I'm going to go ahead and just on the outer side of the back. And you notice I'm kind of coming upward and up and off the shoulder. Perfect. Now my next step is I'm going to go ahead and put on the Biotone mask. We have two. We have a rose and we have a seaweed. Now anything we talked about that someone who has an allergy to seaweed or shellfish or anything that is from the sea, you would not want to use the green. So think of green as in sea. Green is going to be, it has that algae in there, so you definitely don't want to use that if your guest has an allergy to shellfish. This one is a rose. It is calming. It is pink, so think of pink as in rose. These are the Biotone masks. They're wonderful. They do have a little bit of a clay base in them, so they can be drying, and you may need to have a little bit more moisture in your towel to remove. I'm going to go ahead and I didn't grab another brush, so I do apologize. I'm going to go ahead and just use my fan brush. Let's just pretend it's a fresh brush. I'm going to go ahead and apply. I'm going to get a good amount. I'm going to come over, I'm going to slightly touch, and then I'm going to bring my hand down, and now I'm going to go ahead and just do these back and forth, slow, gliding motions with my brush. Remember, the glide, the longer the contact on, the more comfortable and relaxing it is for your guest. If you were to do this, it is not necessarily comfortable for your guest. I'm telling you, when you have a treatment, have someone, one of the students, do that patting motion. See if you like that, or if you like these nice long, soothing strokes. I can almost say that most of you will say the long effleurage strokes are much more soothing and comfortable, relaxing. So I'm making sure that I have the entire back covered with my mask. Again, if you needed another one, you're always welcome to take two. If you do not open the second container, we will go ahead and put that back on the shelf. Now, remember when we were talking about labeling from the FDA, taking something out of a package and putting it in another container? This is kind of an example what we're talking about. However, I'm not selling my guest this product in this container. So they're still responsible if there is a reaction. Again, because I'm not reselling this product that I've tampered into a different container. So that's what we were talking about the other day. This is all right to do. If you had some product left over, ladies, it goes in the trash. This is what we would call double dipping, in the sense we would use it for someone else. No, you would not. You would dump the rest in the trash. hydrating, this is where you could offer, and I would recommend that we all do this to our guests, is when you would do their hand massage, because this mask is going to stay on for about 8 to 10 minutes. If you are running out of time, it would be more like 8 minutes, just depending on how booked you are. You want to watch your time. So at this point, while this mask is calming the back down now, it's putting the nutrients back in, this is where we would go in and we would do the hand massage. You can use the same oil that you have. Again, the comfortable position would be that their arm would be resting on the bed. Some people will have their arms draped down off to the side. That's fine as well. If that's the case, you're just going to be gently, you're going to lift up and bring it up onto the table, and you're going to come on this side and you're going to work your hand massage. If you had some rocks left over, that's okay. You could go ahead and just do a little extra treatment for your guests by taking another rock, placing it in the palm of their hand, bringing it up towards the elbow and back down, and into the palm of the hand and back up to the elbow and back down. Then if you had your sheets still on the one side, because it does drape over, I don't have sheets, you could take that and you could wrap it up around that arm so it keeps the arm warm. Then you would go onto the other side and do the same on the other side with the other arm and hand. So fast forwarding, it has been about 10 minutes. Now we're going to remove our mask. Now it's slightly dry already, so if you need to, you are welcome to go ahead and get it a little wet by just getting your hand slightly wet and then going back in and just rubbing around the back just to wet it so it's easier to take off. Go ahead and grab a towel. Again, testing for the heat, making sure it is not too hot, and placing it on the back. Pressing. I'm using my full forearm and hand, feathering out, and I am putting a little bit of pressure, but I'm pressuring towards the hip. And then off the shoulders. Coming back down to the corners of the towel. I'm going to shimmy. Perfect, beautiful. Taking my mitt, coming around and up, over. Now, if your guest did not like that oily sensation that was left on their arms, please go ahead and remove that before you actually come in and remove the mask off the back. So in other words, when you're massaging the arm and the hands, before you rotate over to the other side, take a hot towel and wipe the hand down. Most of us are, as we know, are dehydrated, so that moisture from the oil, which is very hydrating in that sense, the motion in it is not comedogenic, it is a non-comedogenic product, so it is okay to be left on. That came off really nice. I have a squeaky clean back. So I have one towel left. I'm just going to go ahead and use it just because I have one left. Test it for the temperature. I'm going to go ahead and lay it on and just let it rest there for a moment. I am pressing on that tailbone with my two thumbs, just on either side of the tailbone, and just pressing slightly. Taking my corners of my towel, and this time instead of shimmering it, because I don't need to take anything off, I'm just going to roll it up. Going to make sure that I get that neck clean, because sometimes leftover product will come down onto the neck by the hairline, and you just want to make sure that when they put their clothing back on, there is no product left on that neck that's going to stain their clothing. Now my last step is going to be moisture with an SPF. Now we say the back, because they're putting clothes on, they don't necessarily need an SPF, but because we are a industry that pushes protection to the skin, we would put the SPF on. If you did not want to, you could go ahead with the Biotone massage cream. You could use that in place of the oil if you did not like working with the oil, but I will tell you the stones slip much easier when it's an oil-based product. So I'm going to go ahead and just apply a little bit of moisturizer. This does not have the SPF, but you do have a choice of Hydrate or Peptide Defense. Again, the backs are much larger than the face, so be careful how you price your back treatments because you want to be reimbursed back. We love Biotone. We love the fact that it's a good product, and we know it's not going to fight with anything that we have used from cosmetics. It's just a nice blend. But most of these products for our hot stone treatment are from Biotone. We have a protocol for a back treatment with cosmetic. It's a wonderful, same type of thing. It's the same one. You may have that in your protocol books. It's the same type of treatment, just using cosmetic products. So I didn't overly put moisturize because this is a gentleman and most men don't like to have anything fussy on them. This does not have a fragrance at all, and it is non-greasy. So again, I'm just kind of rubbing it in. Now at this point, at the end of my treatment, I'm coming back down the spine, coming and pressing and coming over to the hips, coming up, full forearm, coming up towards the neck. I'm going to place my thumbs by the neck to the shoulders in this motion. Coming way to each side of the shoulder, wrapping around, coming up into my upside down prayer. Again, I'm going, it's almost like you're spreading motion, like when you were applying in the beginning. Same type of thing. This is saying goodbye to the body. And each time you do your pass, it should be a lighter pressure. And there we have it, our hot stone back treatment. You can go ahead, if your guest is asleep at this time, you can kind of just, kind of shake them a little bit and say thank you. If you're getting ready to do your facial now, what you would do is that you would go ahead and you would help them flip over by taking this sheet and giving them some privacy. They would flip over. They would have to adjust themselves slightly because they'd have to come down to the table because there's that cradle. And then you would remove the cradle. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this hot stone back treatment. And if there's any questions, we can go ahead and have this discussion afterwards. All right, ladies, thank you.